Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, I'm continuing on with my gay movie marathon, and I eventually made it to Brokeback Mountain. Um, this is a very brilliant film. It's very subtle, very quiet, has lots of layers, and I was very impatient with it. The first time I saw it, I liked it. I saw it a second time with a friend, and I really thought it was really boring the second time. I think in part also it was very much marketed towards straight people as a love story and not a gay film, and it had two straight actors playing gay characters. I guess I didn't really feel like it was our film. It wasn't really a gay film on some level. I didn't really feel any ownership of it as a gay person, so I didn't really bother with it. I did eventually buy it on DVD just because I felt like it's kind of like a classic. It's kind of, I should have it. I should have a copy of it in my library, but I didn't watch it. I didn't really plan to, but I watched it for this, and it was so much better than I remember, and so much more than I remember. The film was made in 2005. It cost, I think, 14 million. It made 178 million, so it was a big hit. Of course, it starred Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal. One of my big regrets about this film was I had a last-minute invite to the premiere of the film in Australia, or one of the premieres in Australia, and I didn't go because I had plans with a female friend that we were having a DVD night, and we were just about to start watching the movies when I got this invite, and I couldn't take her, so I stayed with my friend instead of running off, and I sort of figured, well, Heath lives in Australia, he's going to find excuses to attend Australian premieres so he can visit his family and stuff, so I'll see him another time. And of course, as we know, he died not long after that, so I never got to meet him. And I'm not really friends with that person anymore, despite supposedly being family. But I'm not bitter. The film itself is very simple. The two characters, the two cowboys, meet up looking for work. They end up working like a season of taking care of sheep. I don't know how long they're up on this, up on Brokeback Mountain. But one night, they end up sharing the tent, and things happen, and they keep it to themselves, and Ennis is fine with that, but Jack wants more. They have a fight at the end of their time there, and they end up going their separate ways. And unfortunately, my DVD decided to not work about 49 minutes in, and it skipped and skipped and skipped until it ended up at being an hour and 20 minutes in. So it's a 2 hour and 7 minute movie by our time. I think it's actually supposed to be an hour, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So sometimes there's a difference between times with Australian films and US films due to the difference between PAL and stuff like that. But I lost about 40 minutes of the film. Now, fortunately, of course, it has scene selection, so I went back to remind myself what happened, because it cut just after Heath married Michelle Williams. And then, of course, they got divorced. Jack met Anne Hathaway at the rodeo. They got married. That didn't go so well. They met up. They had the reunion. And that was when Michelle Williams caught them kissing. So she knew what was happening the whole time. That's why she left him. And the DVD resumed where they were having Thanksgiving dinner, the two families. And, of course, Michelle's just visiting because her and the kids have left. And she confronts him about the fact that she worked out what he was doing. And he gets pretty aggressive, pretty threatened. She gets pretty upset. He leaves. And basically, these two guys have spent 20 years having a relationship where they only saw each other a few times a year and spent time together. They'd go to Brokeback Mountain and camp out and fish. And that was enough for Ennis, because he couldn't really see more than that. I don't think. It was the 60s and the 70s into the 80s when they were having their relationship, so it wasn't really a time where people could be together and live together. I don't know if they could have gotten away with it out in the country somewhere if they sort of kept to themselves. But it's not enough for Jack. They end up fighting because Ennis has to cancel one of their trips because he's got work and he can't get out of work, and because he's got to pay for child support and everything. He has to really hold on to the job. They sort of go their separate ways. Not long after that, Ennis gets a letter because he wrote to him to sort of say, you know, let's do November or whatever, and the letter comes back stamped deceased. He calls up the wife. The wife tells him he had an accident with a tyre that blew out and hit him in the face, and he was knocked out, laid on his back and drowned in his own blood. Ennis has a vision of him being beaten by some, being gay bashed basically and dying that way, and maybe that's what happened, and the family, they were just telling this other story, which sounded like BS, but it's unclear. The wife tells him that he wanted his ashes spread up at Brokeback Mountain, that his family has some of the ashes. He goes to the family home. The mother is fairly welcoming, she knows. The father knows too, and he's a bit bitter. He's letting him know he knows, but nothing's really said. He says basically, yeah, I heard about you. He said, you know, you were going to come up, you guys were going to build a cabin together and like take over the farm or something. And he said, then we heard about some other guy who was going to do it, and like most of his plans, it never happened. The mother invites him to go up to his the room that's being kept since he was a boy, the same. He goes up and he finds the shirts, because early in the film, when they go their separate ways after the first sort of time at Brokeback Mountain, they had a fight, and later he says, I can't believe I left my shirt up there. And you'll know that Jake took the shirt. It had both their blood from the fight on it. He had the two shirts, his shirt and the other shirt, one over the other, and he kept them in his closet for all those years. He folded them up and took them. The mother saw that and she gave him a bag to put it in. He left. He was fairly grateful. She was fairly kind. The father was like, I know, but I don't know. I'm not going to say, because I know I don't want to know this, but I know it. I want you to know I know it, but it's a bit like that. And he left, and his daughter shows up. He's living in a little sad little caravan somewhere, and she's getting married. And she's like, it's June. And he's like, I'm going to be working. She's devastated, of course. And then, of course, he's like, well, I guess they're going to have to find someone else because my daughter's getting married. And you realise he actually, grew a bit, that he actually put, his daughter in front of the work and that, whereas he never did that with Jack. And maybe if he had, they would have stayed together. Maybe if he tried, and I don't know if they could have achieved it together, but he couldn't see it or didn't want to try it. And the daughter leaves. She leaves her jacket. He goes to put it, folds it up and puts it in his closet. And there's, of course, the two shirts hanging up, but this time his shirt is inside Jack's shirt, and that's where the film ends. It's a very haunting, very sad, very beautiful film. I don't know why I was so impatient with it. I'm kind of okay with the two straight actors because I really think there's so few roles for gay actors because they get typecast, and homophobia stops them from having careers, that I kind of feel like they should have the gay roles. But Heath was brilliant, Jake was brilliant. It was a brilliant film. I'm glad I saw it, and now I have to go and buy another DVD of it because I obviously need to see the middle 40 minutes. I want to see it again properly. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the film if you've seen it. If you haven't, see it. And, be patient with it. It's worth it.